Hello, hello. Where are you? I can see you all. Hi, everyone. Oh my God, it's so good to see your faces. It's been forever, forever, forever since it feels like forever. I'm sure it's only about 4 weeks, but we're on the 6 weeks holiday here in the UK. I don't know who else is on 6 weeks holiday with little children at home. It's a whirlwind. It's insane trying to do anything with little people around. So this is actually a wonderful reprieve for me, a little bit, just to come and spend this evening with you tonight. We're actually off on camping tomorrow morning. So as soon as I've done this, I've got to switch my mind into mummy mode because we're taking the kids to a festival for the weekend. So excuse me for my head. I'll be here. I'll be present while I'm with you, but my head might suddenly start thinking about the packing that I need to do at some point as well. But I promise this is going to be an interesting evening tonight because you've probably hopefully seen the emails, which is what brought you here. I know some of you are already here as part of our Wealth Through Purpose journey, which is our brand new wealth program, which I'm so excited to be sharing with you. And what I'm teaching you tonight is one tiny piece of what we're talking about in module 4. So tonight is really introducing you all, I hope. I'm sure it's something you've probably seen or heard or thought about before, about understanding why gold and silver and real money, as we will see, are so important in every single person's life. And a lot of this information are things that I've heard of, listened to, paid attention to. If any of you are familiar with Robert Kiyosaki, I've never pronounced his name. It's Robert Kiyosaki, isn't it? Like amazing guy. He's been talking about gold, and there are so many incredible people that I've followed for a long time who have talked about this. And it's always been one of those things that I've said, oh yeah, I'll get round to that. It will be important when. And little did I realize, or maybe I kept putting it off, and I know I'm looking at one or two of you here who have felt the same about this, was like, oh yeah, I'll get round to that. And I hope what you'll learn in tonight's class, once we get started, is the importance as to why the time that everyone's been talking about is actually rapidly creeping upon us in a scary pace, to be quite honest. But what I want you all to leave here with tonight or on this call is to leave feeling empowered, because knowledge in and of itself is the thing that allows us to be empowered and to break free of the things that we don't even know are the problems in our life. Does this make sense to everyone? So are we all ready? I know Claire mentioned at the beginning, with pen and paper, to really, I want you to take this on board, because there are 3 things I'm going to share with you tonight that actually make getting into gold and silver really easy for every single one of us to start today. And I hope that you'll learn by the end of today why today is the important piece of the puzzle. Does this sound like, is anyone excited by this? I'm assuming that's why you're all here. Or are you all a bit like, what the hell is she going on about? Why has she suddenly started banging on about gold and silver and crypto and da 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 da? It's a much bigger conversation than tonight, but is everyone ready for us to get started? Yeah. So as Claire said at the beginning, please pop your questions in the chat. I'm going to whip through what I've been busy creating. This is a tiny piece of the puzzle, and I really want to spend the rest of the evening teaching you the rest of this too. But I'm hoping this is going to bring you some insight and some ahas and some epiphany moments. Now, for those of you who may not know who I am, my name is Vet Taylor. I'm guessing if you're here, because the only people I've invited are people in our community. You've probably seen at least an email from me before. But usually what you see me talking about is the world of VAM, is energy work, is understanding how we break ourselves free from the limitations that we experience within ourselves and within our life and within our reality. And that's what I've been teaching you all, many of you, for the last 7 or 8 years. And wealth has always been a massive part of that puzzle. It's always been a big piece. But this year of wealth in the water tiger, and beyond what I can teach you tonight, working on our money stuff as you've probably all experienced, you don't need me to tell you this, is one of the most important pieces, because it does create that sense of self, that sense of stability, that sense of safety. And in terms of energy, it's all connected to our base chakra and sacral chakra. Is everyone with me? That's like the minimum that I can tell you tonight. So I haven't lost my marbles. I absolutely promise. This is all part of your up-leveling and your alignment and your ascension. We have to solve this piece of the puzzle, because without this, crossing the bridge is not that it's impossible, but us stepping into the new paradigm in the world that we want to be, we are going to need the resources on our side to help us be there. Can everyone receive that in the way that I'm sharing? That's why I'm sharing this with you. I want money in the hands of amazing people. And that's, I've got goosebumps. That's the mission that we're on right now, because with that, we can get on with making the difference in the world that we're here for. And the universe has been sending so many amazing people right now and opportunities to support the very vision and everything that we're asking for to make that happen. And I want you all there on this journey. Okay, so if you see me banging on about it, can you understand and feel why I'm sharing this with you now? Yeah? It's so important, and I want you all to be well, and I want us all to be safe, and I want us all to be on the other side making our difference in the whole new world, because that's what we're all here for. So with that, I'm going to crack on and try and get to what I want to share with you today, because this is so purpose-driven, this is so mission-driven, it is beyond belief. And I'm so excited that you're here. We're here to spend the evening. And those of you that are catching up on the replay later, I hope you'll feel that. So let me get over to my slides. Let me see where we are. Okay, so what are we talking about tonight? I need to share with you a professional piece to make sure that I am well behaved on this evening's masterclass, because we are talking about the world of money and finance. It's really important that we are clear. I am not a financial advisor. Okay, precious metals, bullion, gold, coins, collectibles are all, what I'm sharing with you tonight is to educate you and to invite you to educate yourself prior to purchasing anything, which I am going to talk to you about how you can get into doing this later, just so there's no surprises. But the information in this presentation is not to be considered tax or financial advice. We encourage you to seek appropriate professional advice regarding the tax and financial implications of buying, owning, or selling any precious metals. The price and future value of precious metals is based on many factors, including but not limited to market and economic conditions, which we're going to be talking about. Past performance of precious metals is no guarantee of any future value, and none of what we share here tonight is any advice. Any decisions made as a result of this are responsibility of the individual. I said it as quickly as I possibly could, like all of the terms and conditions that they share with you on the radio that you can never possibly hear because they say it all far too quickly. Are we all on the same page? Okay, we're all here willingly. We all get that what we decide after tonight is for us to choose. So what we are sharing tonight is really just to connect with where we're at. The whole purpose of everything we talk about is about empowering, is about stepping into the new world, is about us creating our own reality. And right now, I know that so many people are feeling like they are just working harder in order to make ends meet. And I can promise you, it is not alone. And as you're about to learn through what we talk about tonight, I want you to understand what is happening and why this is going on a global level, because it isn't just you. There is nothing you have done, are doing, ever have done wrong. It's the system and some of the things that have been happening along the way that have created the situation that most people on the planet are living in right now. So if this is resonating with you, if you're here tonight because you know that you want to thrive on this planet, and if you're part of our community, I absolutely know that will be something that resonates with you. You want to protect your wealth for you and your family, create wealth, and you want perhaps maybe some more sustainable vehicles for your income, which again, we'll get to talk about. Maybe you're a change maker, and I know many of you here are, who want to make your difference in the world, but you often find yourself getting stuck by paying the bills, just catching up with your money, just having enough money to run your business. You want to step out of the matrix, and that's the big thing that the Wealth Through Purpose program that we've created is all about, is freeing everybody from the systems that we're in. Maybe you're interested in gold and silver and you've heard about it, like me, many times before, but now you're finally maybe wanting to listen and pay attention. Or maybe your friend has told you to be here, because that's probably happened somewhere along the line with coming along tonight as well. So I know, and this is again why we're sharing this with our community, that most people on the planet, when they have the money in their pocket, when they, I want to say fantasize, but when they dream of having wealth, very rarely do we sit there and think about just rolling around in the bed, or maybe we do, rolling around in bed naked with all of our money. It's because we actually want that money to make a difference. Yes, to ourselves, yes, to our lives, and to the people that we love and that we care about. And even maybe people beyond that, that we have never met, but we know that we're here to make a difference to, or that we want to make an impact in the world in many, many ways. And I know that good people, amazing people like you and I, want to do amazing things in the world, and the resources would make that so much easier if they were in our pockets. The 100 richest people on the planet right now could end world poverty 100 times over. Just let that sit. And I know it won't be the first time you've heard that, but they could have ended world poverty 100 times over. And the big question to ask ourselves is, why haven't they? What we are going through right now is going to be one of the greatest wealth transfers in history. And I hope by the end of this masterclass, I know by the end of this that you will understand at least a little piece of the puzzle of where and why that comes from. So there are 3 main strategies that I'm going to teach you tonight. So please have your pen and paper ready, because I want you to understand each one. And there's time for questions at the end as well, if you need to ask me anything. But 3 simple ways that you can start using and working with gold and silver in your life starting today. So this is what we're going to take a little look at. We're going to look at the reality of our current financial system. And again, this is a super high level version of what I really want to share with you, but I don't have time to share that tonight. But we're going to be looking at a defensive strategy. So how precious metals can actually save your wealth, your future, your current and future wealth. We'll be looking at a protective strategy, how to keep your wealth super safe. And this one I will share with you when we get there, has been massively important to me personally in the last 2 weeks. And also what's known as an offensive strategy. So making sure that we're prepped and actually we're ahead of the game. So I'm going to share these 3 things with you, and of course, how we might be able to do this work together to look at it later. So wherever you are in your gold and silver journey, whether it's the only thing you know is which one you prefer to wear, and that was me until a little while ago. I didn't know or understand many of the things I'll talk about tonight: how to buy gold, how to buy silver, which ones to buy, where to buy them, what's important, how to make sure that you're tax efficient, all of those kind of things. But whether you've got a little bit of experience in investing, maybe you've been a little bit ouched by things that have happened before, maybe you've made loads of money and then lost it all. I know a few of you on here have been through that. Myself, I made loads of money, lost it, made it, lost it, made it, lost it. It's been an interesting journey along the way. I'm now making it. But you have a little time and energy to do something new right now, and you've got a little money to get started with. So by the end of this, I want you to know how you can really do that, because at the end of the day, we all want to have absolute peace of mind. And the big reasons, there are many, but the big reasons that many people are stuck in the financial situations they're in is because we do not have the financial education. We have never been taught the way that money works. And I don't just mean understanding, how to spend and how to save or how taxes work. I mean actually understanding the whole money creation process and how the banks create money and where money comes from, and the system within which they make more money from the money that we have. And that actually the whole system is the reason that so many people live their lives in debt. But tonight we're going to have a little exploration into what that is and to understand what real money is, because what we've been taught is money is actually not money. So what is for you, and I want you to pop this in the chat for you, and I really want you to think about this. What is true wealth for you? And it's okay if it's money. Please don't feel like you need to put some spiritual answer in the chat. What is true wealth for you? Is it actually money? Or is it actually time? Or is it actually freedom? Or is it actually alignment? What does real wealth mean to you individually? And if you don't want to write it in the chat, please write this down at least for yourself. What is real wealth for you? Freedom, freedom, financial freedom. There's a lot of freedom in there. Feeling okay about me. Freedom, freedom, alignment. All of the aforementioned, said Erica. Independence, having the money and time to do the things I need to do instead of what I have to do. Yeah, absolutely. The opportunity, health and happiness, freedom to be and do and have all I want, alignment and balance of time. Freedom, 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 freedom. Yeah, see, I know you guys, you're all about freedom. You're with me. Safety, being healthy and having the freedom to do what I want with my time, anything I want on the menu. Yeah. Having the resources that you need as and when required, exactly. And so breaking free of debt. There are so many different ways that wealth, or the idea of wealth, shows up for us. And when we start diving deeper into what I'm alluding to tonight, really the two things that most people said, there are freedom and time, or time to do what I want, or freedom to do what I want, or choice. And real money, having that in your life and easily accessible, is a way for you to start having that freedom, so you can choose what you do with your time, that you can choose what you do with your energy, that you can choose where you go, that you can choose what you want to do, instead of, like Nicola said, having to be in a particular place or having to do a particular thing. And the challenge that we have is the system we've been brought up within has actually stripped us of our two most precious assets, which are our time and our freedom. And we have given those up in exchange for something which you'll understand in a minute, if this is new to you, that has no real value. So what on earth am I talking about? Well, money and currency, and please write this down if this is new, and maybe you've heard this before, but money and currency are not the same thing. In our language, we have been taught, or we've used them very interchangeably, because we've always been taught or think that they're exactly the same thing. But the truth is, even most financial advisors, bankers, or accountants do not understand the simple difference between these two. And this one thing is so fundamentally important to understanding what real money actually is. So, hope you can all see my slides here. So currency, which are the paper notes that we hold, the things that we use each and every single day, is currency. Whether it's in UK, because I'm in the UK, whether it's in British sterling, whether it's US dollars, whether it's euros, whichever country you live in, we all exchange or believe that money is actually currency. Currency, it isn't money. So what makes currency currency? So it has to be a medium of exchange. So what that means is we have agreed that we're going to use these essentially pieces of paper with wonderful prints on to exchange values. They have a unit of account, which is the numbers on that we know, that we perceive. A £20 note is a £20 note, or a £50 note is a £50 note. So it's a medium of exchange. It's something we've agreed to use to trade. It's a unit of account, so it has numbers on it. It's divisible, so it can be broken down. So you can change your £10 for you can change your £10 for 2 5s, or you get change back from what you're using. We have a divisible currency system. It's portable, so it's easy to carry around. It's durable. It doesn't deteriorate, meaning it lasts over a period of time. And many currencies do. If you think how many hands they pass through, they need to be quite durable. Something called fungible, which is, I always thought was a funny word, but fungible meaning that the dollar or the pound that's in my pocket will buy the same amount of goods or services as your dollar in your pocket. So my dollar and your dollar are worth the same at the moment. Your pound sterling and my pound sterling are worth the same. And if we went to the shop, it would buy the same amount of things. But what currency doesn't have is this last one, which is known as a store of value. It does not hold its value over a long period of time. Whereas in money, real money are all of those things. It's a medium of exchange, it's a unit of account, it's divisible, it's portable, it's durable, it's fungible, and it holds its value over a period of time. Now, as you'll see in a moment, there are also 2 other pieces of the puzzle. Because currency does not store its value, and one of the main reasons that it does not store its value is because there is a never-ending supply of currency. Now, if we think about this for a moment, anything in the world that is rare or unique or limited edition or limited supply or not freely available holds its value. If you think about things that collectibles, which we'll talk about in a minute, things that are in short supply hold a value because they aren't just bits of paper, they aren't freely available to everybody everywhere. But things that have a limited supply, whether it's anything, whether it's a painting, whether it's a boutique restaurant, whether it's a limited edition set of t-shirts, whatever it is, wherever there's a limited supply, there is a higher value because there is a perceived higher demand for that thing. It's not freely available to everyone. Does everyone get what I'm talking about? So money and currency. I can see one person nodding. Someone else? Anyone else? All with me so far? Nod. Okay. So money is really gold and silver. The only things that we should be calling money are gold and silver. Precious metals are money. The notes that we have in our pocket are currency. So again, and I loved this, I only found this one out recently, but for those who love to see the magic in the world, gold is actually known as God's money, whether you believe in God or not. But in fact, scientists have shown that gold, iron, and oxygen are created in our cosmos, in our universe, when there's a very unique explosion, a hypersupernova, which is when a star actually collapses. And gold is therefore rare. There is a limited supply. But for me, this is just so magic. Like, we are given absolutely everything. When the universe thought about creating, or had the conscious realization of creating everything we needed, it created oxygen and gold in exactly the same explosions, like what we need to breathe and what we need to thrive on the planet. So gold is God's money. So money and currency are not the same. They are, because our fiat currencies actually hold no value. What fiat actually means, the word fiat, isn't just a little car that many of us have probably had at some point or might be driving around in. But fiat currency actually means it's an authoritative order. A fiat currency, the technical definition of a fiat currency, is that it's a government-issued currency that is not backed by a physical commodity such as gold or silver. It's a free floating currency. It's simply a government have come in and said, these pieces of paper are what we are going to use as our medium of exchange, and have mandated that we use these currencies. So fiat currency is what we are using at the moment. So fiat actually means that a fiat currency means that it is not backed by gold and silver. I'm just going to come off the slides for a second. Fiat currency actually means that it's not backed by gold or silver. And I'll talk about this in a second. Some of you, looking at some of your faces here, might remember back to 1971. Does anyone remember back to No. Some of you might remember back to 1971, which we'll talk about in a second, where the whole world actually became disconnected from what was known as the gold standard, the global gold standard, where governments had to have gold to the same or similar value of what they were actually printing as currency. Does this make sense to everybody? So right now, we are basically in a free-floating financial system where governments do not have to hold gold or silver to the same or similar value of the currency that they are issuing within a country. Just let that sink in for a second. Imagine you were writing checks out of your bank, IOUs to other people, and you did not have that money in your bank account. What would happen? Checks would be bouncing left, right, and centre, wouldn't they? It would be in a massive debt and a massive overdraft. And essentially, as we'll see in a second, this is what our current fiat financial system is in its very simplest form. Is everyone with me so far? I can see some stressed out faces. I want you all to be empowered. But it's kind of scary when you realize this. It's like, wow, okay. So what they've literally been doing, I don't know if this is the next slide. I've lost myself. I'm probably jumping ahead of where I'm supposed to be. But essentially what they've been doing is printing money into existence. They have been printing currency, these paper notes. And the challenge is throughout the 5,000-year history of money, which originally started with gold with the Egyptians way back, over a 5,000-year history of money, there have been many fiat-based, meaning non-gold-backed based currency systems, and every single one of them has failed. On average, they fail around 50 years. There's one exception to that I found, which is actually the pound sterling, which became a fiat currency in 1931. So we're a good 90 years into that being a fiat currency, but that's another teach for another day as to why the UK have managed to make it through, but that's not a conversation for tonight. But most fiat currencies generally last around 50 years before the system itself collapses and everybody moves back to gold and silver, because it's been the one constant throughout the last 5,000 years. We are currently in year 51 of a global fiat-based system, and every country in the world is currently not backed by gold. So this is why, or I want you to start seeing, is why the prices, what this all means, is actually why the prices of everything that we have is going up. It is not that things are costing more to make or more to service. It's that the fiat currency that we are using to buy the goods are becoming worth less. And whichever fiat currency you look at on the planet, they are all telling exactly the same story right now. So I'm sure you've probably all seen or experienced this for ourselves, but price increases nowadays, I think this is compared to like 15 or 18 years ago, like the price of a home cooked meal even is now up nearly to 50% more. College tuition, university fees, water and sewage up 133%, our car insurance is up 97%, eating out up 60%, our heating, I would say 99%, but in the UK, I think that's up 200% or something insane in the last few months. But why is all of this happening? So I'm going to talk about this in terms of the dollar, because the dollar is actually the global currency that everything else in the world is actually matched against. This was actually set in 1944, you can see here on this lovely little slide, when the Bretton Woods system was established. And the Bretton Woods system was an agreement, a global agreement that was created where every currency around the world agreed to match or measure their money against the US dollar. And what that meant was that they would back it by gold. So this was a gold-backed system. And it was valued at $35 for 1 ounce of gold. And so everybody in the world was then able to create a global exchange economy where they were all measured against the same thing. So $35 was the measure for 1 ounce of gold. And that was in 1944. In 1971, as you can see on the little chart, the lovely Mr. President Nixon closed what's known as closes the gold window. And there's a whole piece of history around that and why that was and how it came about. But it basically ended the Bretton Woods Agreement, which meant that all at once, every single currency which had aligned themselves to the US dollar, and every single currency was therefore backed by gold, all of a sudden became a non-gold backed currency. It all became a fiat currency system in 1971. Now, what this chart is actually showing you is the value of the US dollar itself from when it was originally created in 1913. Now, when it was created, the US dollar was worth $1. The value, the purchasing power now of that same US dollar would buy you 5 cents worth of stuff. If that was in US money, would now buy you 5 cents worth of stuff, the same dollar back then. So what does that look like in reality? So the reality is now that 1 US dollar is now worth 35. You need 35 US dollars to buy the same amount of stuff that 1 US dollar would have bought you way back then. In the UK, the number's a little bit scarier. In the UK, our £1 equivalent, our £1 sterling in 1913, is we would now need £128 to buy the equivalent of what £1 would have made back then. You need £128 now to buy what £1 would have bought when the system originally came out. Does this make sense for everyone? Now, I know we've all grown up with prices and values increasing, but before I started learning about this, did not understand why. I had always assumed it was down to prices increasing. But the reason that the prices actually increase is because the value of what you can buy with the same currency is actually going down. Does this make sense? So what we're seeing right now with rising costs of inflation and all of this other stuff that's going on, think about this. All of the food and petrol, all the truck drivers need fuel. They're paying more for their fuel. So that price has now got to go onto the price of what we're paying for. And the value of what we're paying for is going down. And this can start to get to a very scary kind of tipping point where the money that we actually have in the bank is no longer of value as we thought it would be some 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. I think about maybe some of the older generations who've been working their asses off, and it's the only way I can describe it, for their entire life to put their money away in a pension, thinking, well, I've got 50 grand there, or I've got 100 grand there that's going to get me through X, Y, Z. But that 100 grand is now almost burnt through so incredibly quickly because the cost of living when they get there is nowhere near what they had imagined it would be. Does this make sense? And it's kind of a scary place to be. So what do we need to do? That's the thing. So anyone got any questions so far? I feel like I'm just talking at you, but yeah, income tax was supposed to be temporary. There are 27 taxes in the UK, 27 taxes. That's a whole other conversation. Wow. And Michelle just said, apparently 2% of people are actually able to comfortably retire with everything they need covered. And so it's not the cost of living. I think this is what I want you to take. It's not that the cost of living is increasing. It's that the value of what we have, it takes more of it to buy what we need. So this is one way that fiat currency is literally sucking away our wealth right now. So what I'm just saying, where we think we've got money in the bank, or if we've planned for money being there in the future, it isn't going to get us as far as we thought. That's the piece of the puzzle. So let's look at this in some kind of practical terms. Again, this is from the US because everything's based in the US dollars, but what could you buy in 1965 if you had $2,500 or 2,500 ounces of silver? $2,500 would have bought you a Ford Mustang. This is so American, but it would have bought you a Ford Mustang. That same $2,500 today would buy you 2 Ford Mustangs if you'd held that money in silver, not the $2,500, sorry. 2,500 ounces of silver would now buy you 2 Ford Mustangs, which is something in the region of like $70,000 each. The same amount of silver. So what's happening, the downside is that our fiat currencies are going down. But what happens on the opposite side of the scale, if you're holding your wealth in precious metals, is the value of your precious metals then begins to go up. So back then, an ounce of silver, back in 1965, 1 ounce of silver was $1. 1 ounce of silver was $1. Now that same 1 ounce of silver is $35. And gold is even more. 1 ounce of gold, I believe, was also, I don't know what it was back in then, but is this making sense? So your gold and silver actually hold, if not increase in value over time, because they are measured and matched against currency, which is falling. It's like a set of scales. So gold and silver are really the secret that the wealthy people have used for years. And I had this in me. I was like, well, when I am a bazillionaire, then I will buy gold and silver. In my head, it was always something that was for them. It was always for other people. I never realized, A, the importance of having it now, but also the importance of having it to help you create wealth right now. So it's called sound money. And if you hear me talking about sound money, which you will in a moment, it's really just a fancy name for gold and silver. And the governments are actually the largest holders of gold in the world today. I think the US is holding 8,300 tons of gold. Most of it is in New York. And I can't believe I can't remember where the UK is. I was looking at a little chart earlier. The US is holding 8,000. And I think Australia, and then there's Russia, Australia, Germany, and the UK are some of the other biggest countries that are holding gold and silver. So strategy number one, we've just talked through it at a really high level, but strategy number one is to actually get yourself or move your money into gold and silver because they are a store of value. So if you exchange your savings, your cash, or as we'll talk about in a minute, potentially your bank account into gold and silver, what it protects you against is the deflation or the inflation that's happening with the currency prices dropping, the value of the currency dropping. So strategy number one is to start buying gold and silver bullion. And it's a great way to make sure that you're protecting your wealth. I'm going to say this out loud for everybody as well. It's also really important. And when I'm saying gold and silver bullion, I know I just showed you on the slide, these big slabs, like everyone thinks, oh, I need to have one of these. And I'm going to take a massive slab of gold to the shop to go and buy my bread. You're not. What you actually need to start gathering is what's known as fractional gold and silver. Okay, so you can start to purchase small denominations. In fact, I've got one here. This is that's 1 silver US dollar. It's 1 ounce of silver. I wouldn't necessarily use this one because this is collectible, which I'll talk about in a minute, but you can get non-collectible gold and silver, which you will be able to use to buy your bread and to buy your food shopping. So fractional gold and silver, I highly recommend that you get some sooner rather than later. okay? Because you can then go, this is still a medium of exchange. This is the wonderful thing with gold and silver. Over the last 5,000 years, if you go to any country in the world and you had 1 ounce of gold in your pocket, you can pretty much go anywhere and do anything. And there are some people in the community that we're in at the minute who will not travel without holding 2 or 3 gold and silver with them. Should anything happen at any point, you know that that can get you home, that can get you safe, it can get you a bed, it can get you food, it can do so much, but you're carrying it with you wherever you are. Does this make sense? I know this is like prep, and people, maybe you weren't ready for this conversation tonight, but the gold, fractional gold and silver, if you've got them in small denominations, means that you can use them for shopping. Okay, so you can use them for shopping, use them for food, use it to pay for petrol, and you can get them now. Okay, you do not need to have a massive doorstop of gold and silver in your house. You need to start buying the smaller denominations. Is this all making sense so far to everyone? Gold is accepted, gold and silver coins. And this is there again, it's more than I can teach you tonight, but there are certain ones that are accepted. You can get them globally. Wherever you are, people will take it because gold and silver are interchangeable. So I can rock up with my silver that isn't currency and buy petrol. Yes, you can, Tiff, if the person behind the till has any sense. And at some point, you might need to be able to do that. Okay, so read between the lines of what I'm saying. But yeah, definitely get some. And the value of it is increasing at the moment, 20 to 30% per year. Okay. So everyone clear, strategy 1, is to get yourself some gold and silver bullion. Okay. And you can start doing that now because hopefully we're not going to need them, but I'd rather make sure that we are ready. So number 2, let's take a look at this. I'll crack on through this, but why fiat is actually losing our wealth, and why we need to get ourselves back to a gold-backed system. So we touched on this a moment ago. In 1971, they removed us from a gold standard system, which is a monetary system where a country's currency is directly linked to gold. Now, currency has been around for a long time. And the reason for currency is because it was safer to carry around paper notes that were IOUs than it was to carry around a bar of gold with you. Okay, so your bar of gold is locked away safe in the bank, but you're carrying around paper notes that are essentially claim checks, which I'll talk about in a second. And that's why currency was actually invented. But what it meant was, back then, you used to be able to go into a bank and exchange your $20 for $20 worth of gold, or £20 worth of gold and silver. The bank would actually hold what you had in their vaults, and it was available for you to go and get. So the reasons that we want a gold-backed system, for me, it's not even a new paradigm system. This is the oldest, most trustworthy, most truthful, transparent financial systems that we've ever seen. And a gold standard system ensures that countries can only create currency for which they have real tangible assets to pay for the currency's value. So if I've printed $10 trillion worth of notes, I had damn sure better make sure that I've got $10 trillion worth of gold that match the notes that I have printed. That's what the gold-backed system does. And you can't print beyond that. And what it does, they actually let it run at like a 1.5 or 1.75 ratio. So you could print a third more or 2/3 more than what you actually had in gold physical assets. But what it does is it actually prevents governments from spending beyond their means on things that may not necessarily be of the most benefit to the rest of the planet. And it prevents the value of that currency from dropping. So if you remember back to the chart that I showed you, it's been a steady decline from when we came off the gold standard systems. The value of the currency has been dropping, and that's been happening everywhere around the world. Now, which I was just speaking about a moment ago, currency used to represent its value in gold, and it used to actually be written on the notes that this is payable in gold to the bearer on demand. So you would take your notes into the bank and they would exchange that to you for gold, which would be in the bank. It was literally an IOU, or you could walk in the bank and claim that. Except all of that stopped in 1971. And since then, we've essentially been running around with these little pieces of paper in our pocket, which have no substantial value. They are not money of substance. They are what's known as money of form. So, as I touched on earlier, the Bretton Woods system in 1944 was when the gold standard, last gold system was established. There's been many before that. And the most successful economies like the Roman empires, the Greeks, all had incredible gold-backed systems. And the reasons that they fell is because they removed themselves from the gold-backed systems. The governments became really greedy. They started doing exactly what they're doing here, devaluing the value of their coins. And that's what actually led to the end of many of the old ancient civilizations that we had, as they removed themselves from a gold-backed monetary system, which is what the lovely president of the US did in 1971. So all currencies on the planet are currently fiat-based. And what the governments have done, I touched on this a minute ago, but they have basically been on a printing spree, because what they have done is tried to print themselves out of debt. And this has happened so many times before. Some of you might remember some of these. In Germany, the papier mark was 1922 to 1923. The exchange rate ended at 1 trillion to 1. So one note, let's call it $1, ended up at 1 trillion to 1 when the currency financially failed. So you needed 1 trillion papier marks to purchase what one papier mark would have previously allowed you to do. And if you go and actually look at any of this, you'll see what happens is people are literally walking into shops with carrier bags full of notes, currency, in order to just do their shopping, because the value of what they have has literally become almost meaningless. The peso in Argentina ended at 100 billion to 1. In Zimbabwe, it ended at 10 billion to 1. And the most recent was actually in Venezuela. And again, you can go and find this this was in the last 3, I think it was about 4 years ago. Very, very recently. The most recent one was in Venezuela, and the economy literally disappeared overnight. It was the wealthiest country in the South America and became the poorest. And this image shows 1 million Bavaris, I haven't got my Venezuelan accent on me tonight, became worth $50. And what you ended up with was literally money being thrown out on the streets because it meant nothing to anybody. But the people who thrived throughout all of this, and even this year in the Ukraine, when they went to war, a lot of the banks were closed, people were unable to get into cash machines, and the people that thrived were the people who already had gold and silver, because they were still able to use that as a medium of exchange in order to get themselves and their family safe and get their way through. So in all of these happy notes, I promise we'll come to the positive part, but basically what they've done is print money into existence. And this is actually what causes inflation. And it's also what actually causes economic crashes, because the government just try to print more and more and more and more money. But what do we know? When there's something that's got an endless supply, the value of it starts to drop and it becomes meaningless because there's more and more and more and more of it. So what's actually happened, this is a chart of what happened in the US. And again, we're talking about the US because they are the predominant financial focus for the whole of the world. This has happened in every single country. This chart shows the last 10 years. And if you look along the bottom of the chart, the first line that's going along, you can see that then has a sharp increase in 2020. Over the last 8 years, from 2012 to 2020, I can't remember the exact numbers, but say they printed $10 trillion over that 8-year period. In the last 2 years, as you can see, this crazy spike that they have now printed almost exactly the same amount that they printed in the last 10 years in the last 2. And this was in response to the global economic situation that happened, and every country did exactly the same. In the UK, it's not quite so obvious on the chart, but in the UK, they did exactly the same. In 2020, you can see this massive leap of currency that was created. So it's, if you want to go and Google it, it's called the M1 currency supply. You can go and look on the Bank of England and you can see how much money they've created. So it was up at 18 trillion, 18 billion, 18 trillion here. And in 2 years, they've increased that by a third. So we're up to 24 trillion. So what is the challenge with this? Why is no one putting a stop to this? And it's because no government wants to be the one that stops printing more money. Because if they stop printing more money, and again, this is a teach beyond tonight, but it's something we're talking about in Wealth Through Purpose. But once you actually understand where money comes from, none of the governments want this to be on their shoulders, because if they stop printing money, the system will stop. And it's like passing a hot potato. So all they do when they come into power, or when they're very simply, when they come in and they're like, so we're going to create this amazing policy about blah, blah, blah. And we're going to fund it with XYZ money. Has anyone ever done that and looked at the news and gone, where the hell are you getting $6 billion from to be able to do this? Where is that coming from? They literally go and print it into existence. And that's like, they literally go and print it into existence. It doesn't come from our taxes. It doesn't come from a secret bank account that they've got. And it makes me laugh now when I'm watching the news and they're like, oh yes, it's because of what's happening. Sorry, I sound very unpolitical, winding myself back in. But it's like, this is what I can see Carolyn giggling away down there. But you know, when you just think, oh my God, they're like, oh, it's because of the problem. The fuel prices are going up because of what's happening in Russia. Maybe. But is anyone actually going to hold their hand up and say, the prices are going up because actually we've been a bit stupid and we've just printed an extra $20 trillion into existence in the last 10 years and none of us know how to handle money? That's really why there's the financial problems that are going on. No one wants to put their hand up to that. I know this call is being recorded, but hey, it is true. And everything I'm sharing with you tonight, I don't actually watch the news, Karen. No, I don't. I never watch the news because I just laugh at all of it. So can you all see, is everyone with me so far? I know this feels like an economics lesson rather than a empowerment piece, but it's important to understand where and why and what the challenges are. Is everyone with me so far? I've got some hearts. It's kind of scary, but also funny if we weren't living through it, if that makes sense. Like, how can anyone think that this is a sustainable way for us to live? So the purpose of all of this is because the only real successful economically stable systems we've had have always been backed by gold. But the challenge that we have right now in all of this is the people that it impacts the most is people like you and I. It's the everyday cost of living. And I don't need to tell you this because I know that we're all living through it at the moment. Things like food and drink, like butter. There was I think it was Lidl was selling a kilo of butter for £9, 1 kilo of butter. That's a big pack, to be fair, £9. Like, we are seeing this happening day in and day out, and it isn't necessarily all because of the reasons that they're telling us. BP have had their record profits in the first quarter this year, and yet our fuel prices seem to have almost doubled over the last few months. I wonder what's going on there. So what it is that we need to do, again, because of this rising cost of inflation, it's very similar to what we talked about with the first strategy, but this is another way that our wealth is being sucked away, really, because it's not only that the value is dropping, but we are literally losing the value of our currency globally. Every system, every fiat currency are backed against one another. They're all dropping because we have this crazy inflation, and we haven't yet hit what's called runaway inflation. Now, I'm just going to say it to you, okay, because I need you to know what really is. The scary thing with runaway inflation is it can happen so quickly. If you imagine a bathtub filling up, and every time the bathtub fills up, starts, I've seen a brilliant graphic that does this, but imagine you've got a football stadium, let's start with that, and it was filling with water. And every time it filled, it doubles. So all of a sudden, say it starts with a beach ball. You've got 2 beach balls, you've got 4 beach balls, you've got 16 beach balls, you've got 32 beach balls, you've got 64. When it starts getting up, that doubling all of a sudden goes from here. It doesn't take long before the doubling hits the top. Does that make sense? Because that from what looks kind of okay to that is a really quick process. It's a really quick transition. And that's what's known as runaway inflation. So what we can see right now happening in the world with our inflation rates going up is the start of that, okay? It's the start of this. So they're all trying right now to print more currency into existence to make it happen. They're going to do some crazy stuff like deflationary, blah, blah, blah. But it's the beginning of what's known as hyperinflation, exponential growth. So thank you. So I want you to be prepared. And that's why we're sharing what we're sharing, because at the end of the day, things will always reset. What goes up must come down. And many of you who've been around EAM for a long time will know that I love cycles and I love processes. And I love how the world moves through seasons, through everything. And the same applies to this. What goes up must come down. Everything moves through the process of yin and yang. And in order for there to be, I'm just going to say this, in order for there to be a new financial system, we have to let go of the old ones that are here. In order there to be a new world, we have to let go of the old ones that are here. And I'm excited by that. I really am excited by that, because this is our opportunity to create a brand new earth, the earth that we've all talked about, the new paradigm, the place that's built on love. And in order to do that, we need to make sure that we've got a roof over our head, that we're feeding ourselves, that we can take care of ourselves, we can continue with our work and our mission and our purpose in the world, so we can be present with what we need to do. All with me? Anyone with me? I can see some thumbs up. It's gonna happen. Okay, I hate it. So I'm not even the bearer of bad news. I'm just saying it out loud. I'm not going to sit there and go, it's all going to be fine. It's all going to be, and it is all going to be fine. But also be aware, because actually we are going through this change. And this is what, when I talk in my emails and people are like, I've had some people replying, they're like, what do you mean there's stuff happening in the world that I can't see? And I'm like, oh my God, it's such a big conversation to have. But it's a beautiful conversation. It's like, Michelle, I know you talk about this a lot. It's like watching the caterpillar turn into mush to come out the other side as a butterfly. That's where we are right now. So we just have to believe in and have that faith of the butterfly, that it's going to become that thing and be the people that create the butterfly. That's it. But I want to make sure that we all get through the mushy bit in between. Because it's going to look a little bit mushy. It's going to look mushy, and that's okay. It's okay. And that's why we need community. And that's why we need people around who have got the same kind of vision. So listen, none of this is financial advice. I am simply informing you of some things that might be going on in the world right now that could be important. But throughout the last 5,000 years, what has happened is that our fiat currency systems have always returned to gold. And the most successful ones that we've ever had have always been backed by gold for these reasons, so that they cannot be manipulated in any way, and all fiat currency systems can. So we touched on this a little while ago, but inflation means that the value of gold and silver increase in value right now. So the plus side of this, for every up, there is a down. Whilst the currency is going down, gold and silver will be going up. I do not know if this is true, so please do not take this as financial advice, but I have heard along the way that silver is possibly going to go from $35 an ounce to $600 an ounce by the end of the year. That would be an incredible increase in value if that is true and if that is to happen. The flip side of that is what's causing that to happen. And the challenge is that where we've got our money held in fiat currency systems, what you might see is the value of our currency disappear really, really quickly. So what we want to make sure is that we move ourselves into a gold-backed system, gold-backed bank account, or gold-backed financial system that is not based on fiat currency, and they do exist. And I'm going to share with you how you can do that at the end. It's no big secret, so I will share with you how we can do that. But right now, there are amazing people on the planet who are rebuilding a gold-backed financial system. And I think that's kind of exciting because actually it means, I really want to switch the pause on the recording, but there are definite people who see what's happening in the world, and they have the strength and the tenacity and the vision to recreate what it is that we need to have. And we're lucky enough to be able to be with those people that are doing that right now. That's kind of exciting to me because I don't want to be wrapped up in the system change necessarily. I want to make sure that we're standing outside of it so that we can support as many people through the transition as possible. Does this make sense? So, any questions so far with everything I've shared? I can see some hands up and some happy faces and some oh shit faces. But it is exciting. It is exciting. Someone just asked, what do I think about property? One of the things that is exciting about all of this is, listen, gold is not the only way, and gold is not the only place. I am not giving you financial advice, but lots of the time people use gold and silver to spread their risk in their financial portfolio. I feel very influential saying that. But some people also use things like property, their pensions. There might be ways that you can transfer your pension into a gold-backed pension. Some people might do it in shares and also in crypto. So crypto is another amazing way that you might be able to take steps outside of the current system as it is. They all have their own risks. Everything that we do has potential risks, and they all have their own plus sides, and they all have their own upsides as well. But gold and silver, because over the last, I think, 30 years, has year on year, there's been fluctuations throughout the year, but year on year, it's increased 20 to 30% every single year. So it's considered to be a very solid, very powerful and safe addition to what you're doing. And again, please seek the appropriate advice of a financial advisor who knows what they're talking about in terms of what you're doing if you've got assets and things to move. But there are lots of other things to think about, and each one of them has their own pluses and their own minuses that go with it. But gold and silver are always considered a really great protection vehicle. And they've never been sat in the high risk category box as such. So please remember that this is for everyday people like me and you. This does not mean you need to be a bazillionaire. You do not need to have gold stuffed away in your wardrobe or under your, actually you might, but you don't need massive gold bars is what I'm saying. And I talked about this earlier. You can have fractional golden money, gold and silver, and you can have that money. That money should be in your house now or in the next few months, because you don't need a vault. You don't have to store it at home unless you want to, but there are places that can store this for you, and I will talk about that in a minute. So I wasn't going to share this, but I am. One of the things that's happened to me, and this I've been unsure whether it was a manifestation, because I've been in this world looking at some of these things the last few months or weeks or months. And Claire made me laugh. Well, I don't know if I made Claire laugh. I've been saying so often, I really want to get out of this financial system. Like, I'm so ready to get out of this financial system. I'm so ready to get out of this financial system. Be careful what you wish for of it. 2 weeks ago, my bank restricted my personal bank account and my business bank account and my partner's account all in one go. 2 weeks in, I do not have my bank accounts back, and I have no idea when I am getting my bank accounts back, because I still don't know the reason. They didn't like me spending money on crypto. That's the only thing that I can get the idea of. 2 weeks, and they won't tell me when, they won't tell me why, they won't tell me what I've done. I know I've done nothing wrong, just to be really super clear, and the bank are being really fucking unhelpful. 2 weeks in. And when you go and read the reviews on their site, sometimes people could be 2 months, 3 months, 6 months before they get their account and their money back. Just like that, they have taken access to the cash that I had that was there. Luckily, the reason I'm sharing this with you now, luckily, I had money in my gold account and I had money in my crypto. Thank fuck that that is the only thing I can say, because otherwise it would have been a little bit of a scary place to be. And they literally don't care. They literally don't care where you go or what you do or what's going on. And they're not interested in giving an answer. So I'm sharing this with you because I want you to be aware. Please know, you should all, I hope, know me by now. This is in no way to induce fear in anyone. I want you to understand the things that you need to do to make sure that you are taken care of, because I don't want you to be in the same situation as me. And it's not necessarily that it was the crypto, but it's what scared me, I think, is that the banks have the capacity to do that, just like that. That's what's become very obvious to me. And I'm very grateful that I had that lesson so that I can share that with you. I'm really grateful I had that lesson. Although I should probably be a bit more careful with my manifesting. I'm ready to be out of the financial system with my money in my gold account. That's what I need to make sure that I manifest next time. But does this, I don't want to freak anyone out with what I'm saying. I haven't freaked anyone out, have I? Because you're all like, oh, it's fine. I got my money in my bank still. It's So my suggestions to you, get yourself multiple bank accounts, okay? Get yourself multiple bank accounts and make sure that you have money in multiple bank accounts in case of emergencies, whether they're gold backed or not. Just make sure that you move your money and separate banks, not with the same bank, okay? So one with one bank, one with another bank, and make sure that your money is spread across different places, okay? So, yeah, and Tiff says, if you do that, make sure the banks are not connected to each other, i.e. under the same umbrella, yeah. So you just want completely different banks. Yeah, it's kind of, that's the only thing I can say is, yeah, it's been an interesting experience. So just before I leap on to the last piece, is any of what I've shared with you tonight new news? Is this like been something that you've learned? Have there been aha moments in what I've shared so far tonight? Yeah, people are doing it on. Yeah, and yes, thank you, Lena. If you do have more than 85,000 in any one bank, separate it out across banks, because the banking insurance or protection is only limited up to £85,000. Emma said, I knew what you were saying, but it's so much clearer now. And I'm really grateful that you've all come on and let me share so truthfully tonight as well. A huge aha moment, said Alex. I have to do my homework there, but easy to find online. Amazing how many banks are linked. Yes, most of them are connected to BlackRock. Most banks in most countries are connected to BlackRock. It's possibly to inhibit money laundering. I haven't been money laundering, I absolutely promise. Janet, I definitely haven't. I know I haven't been doing that. Transfer it into my bank. Legally money deposited in the bank is, yeah, that's a whole other conversation, Michelle. Yeah, money deposited in the bank is actually a loan to the bank, but let's do that. Let's do that another day. So your bank accounts are only insured up to 30K. My bank told me this when I set up my account. That's interesting. So there are things that we can do. Janet says, she's like, I didn't mean that. I promise I haven't been money laundering. Promise I'm a good girl. I promise I am a good girl. I am sometimes. Definitely when there's a recording on, I'm a good girl. All right. So what's the last one? The last strategy. So that's strategy number 2. Number 1, get yourself gold and silver bullion. 2, get yourself a gold backed bank account, because when your money is in the gold backed bank account, and I didn't explain this clearly, should anything happen in the markets, because you are in a gold backed system, your value of your money is attached to the gold. So if you've got £40,000 in value, you've got £40,000 in value, nothing will affect it. Does that make sense? So you've basically put yourself on a gold backed system like they used to have, where your money matched money that is actually held in actual gold that you can have shipped to you if you wanted to. You could have gold and silver bars in your house. So best way, last strategy now, because I've been chitty-chatting for a while, is how do we actually make some money now? So both the things I've shared with you have been like, oh my God, what ifs? But how do we actually start making some money now with gold and silver? And this is something that really excites me too much, actually. But the best way that you can actually start to increase your money with gold and silver is actually to move into collectibles. So do you remember earlier we were talking about things that are rare or scarce have a higher value, and there are so many different things that are collectibles. I know some of you on here already have crazy shoe collections. Whether or not they're valuable to anybody else might be another thing. Whether it's stamp collecting, whether it's comics, whether it's art, whether it's NFTs, which is a whole new thing that I've really had to get my head around, or whether it's a piece of artwork, whether it's a tattoo, like anything that is rare or limited edition or has a story that sits behind it can often be seen as or known as collectibles. So collectibles are anything that creates a higher demand and increases the typical above market prices. So there are beautiful ways that you can do this with gold and silver. So this is an example. This Spider-Man comic, which is insane, is very rare, as in low mintage. Collectible coins are rare, low mintage. They have incredible designs. They have a great story. This Spider-Man comic, as an example, is literally a piece of paper, essentially a piece of paper with something printed on it. But because of the story that goes with this, and because there are people in the world who would find this highly valuable in their collection, this 1962 Spider-Man comic recently sold for £3.6 million. £3.6 million for a comic, which is kind of insane. But the reasons being that it is highly collectible to the people who are collectors, and there is a story behind it, and it has meaning, and it has significance. It could be baseball cards, it could be stamps. And really one thing that many wealthy families do is actually, as well as having their money in gold and silver, they actually have their money in collectibles or art. Like, I've never understood why somebody would pay £32 million for a specific, I don't know, Mona Lisa or some amazing piece of art. They're beautiful, they're wonderful, but I never really got it. But really what they are is a store of wealth, because collectibles are known as an offensive strategy. They help you to be able to create wealth in your life faster. And according to Inc. magazine, the 5 main assets that wealthy families use to protect their wealth is real estate, so property, fine art, rare coins, gold, and precious usable metals. Now, what's kind of exciting to me is that 3 of those are things that we've talked about tonight. So rare coins, I'm about to talk about, gold, and usable precious metals. So here's a little example. These are some modern day collectible coins. When I used to think about coin collectors, I used to think about them in the same way as stamp collectors. I always imagined them to be little old men who had little spy glasses and their lovely little flip book that they would, that they'd get out, that they've been collecting since they were 8, until I realized or discovered all of this whole world of modern collectible coins. Now, just as an example to you of what can happen with these are really, really new. These aren't old coins, these aren't ancient, but all of the same principles apply in terms of the rarity, their mintage. There are so many other things I can't teach you tonight, but what makes them collectible is to the person who's buying them on the other side. So this, one of them here is a Tiffany art piece, which originally was purchased for $90. Current market value is $8,000 for one little coin. Then you've got the Julius Caesar one, you can see here, which was a 1921 coin, sorry, 1921, 2021, this coin was minted. The Tiffany art was minted in 2004, went for $349 for this Julius Caesar coin. Current market value, $750 to $1,000. The Montana butterfly originally was $139. You can see the butterfly over here on the left. Current market value $500 to $1,000. And this Van Gogh 500 was originally 500 when purchased, and current market value now 1,500 to 2,000. Now, okay, this isn't necessarily going to turn you into a bazillionaire overnight, but these pieces can make a massive, massive difference in your life. And I never imagined myself to become a coin collector until recently. I am going to have to show these to you because this one, so I have to share this with you. I don't know if you can see. Can you see this one? So this one is a, this is me geeking out. I am now the little old guy with my little coin book, my little spyglass. But this one is a Pearl Harbor. I'm not into Pearl Harbor, okay? I've bought this for a reason. Not that there's anything wrong with Pearl Harbor, it's just not my thing. If anyone's thinking that I'm suddenly some war critic. This is a 5-ounce piece. If I hold it up against my face, it's actually quite a big coin. But what it's got there, just in that tiny little box, is a piece of the USS Arizona, an actual piece of the deck of the boat that sank in Pearl Harbor. Now, to me, that is not the most exciting thing in the world, but to a Pearl Harbor coin collector, that is a pretty exciting thing. Do you see where I'm getting at? It is beautiful. It's got a really lovely print on the back. I bought this for $849. Wasn't expecting it. I got overexcited on a coin drop on eBay. It's like we've got this thing called the equivalent of eBay, and I got all excited because you literally have to press the button like this, and I was like, "Oh my god, I won something! Yay!" It's now worth nearly 2,000 in 4 weeks. So from 849, if I wanted to sell this right now, I could flip it, and I've made $1,000 and a bit on this one coin, just because I got it early. And I got issued, mintage is number 7. So I've got the 7th one of these that's been made. There's only like 49 or 50 of these been made. And I've got number 7. Now, I'm not going to flip it yet, but to somebody is sitting there wanting this in their collection. So at any point, I've got an asset here that I could liquidate if I needed to and turn into cash. Does that make sense? So this is a really quick way. You don't have to do these as like a long-term thing, but some people do use them as a legacy piece. So some people might start collecting them now. Say you've got children or grandchildren. So I've been teaching the boys all about coins and they're like, so not interested. But I'm like, in a few years, in 10 years, you're going to be so grateful that we've got these little things because they're all part of a little collection. And those collections can become really, really valuable. And if you do like shopping, these are really fun. The 2 of these went, I don't know, it wasn't these 2 ones, but 2 of these little coins went for $2,000. They're 149 each, and 2 of them together went on eBay for $1,998. It's insane to people who see them as valuable. I can't get my head around it, and I didn't think I'd become a geeky coin collector, but now I am. It's my new thing. Does that all make sense to everyone? Yeah, and you don't want to see us on. So we have this thing called a coin drop. Let me tell you about it. We have this thing called a coin drop that happens every couple of weeks, and it is like this little event where we all end up jumping on and trying to win these coins, because there's one is partly the excitement, but 2, there is the opportunity then to make some quick money in terms of flipping them and turning them and selling them around. So there is so much to this, and I know I've whizzed through so many different things, but the third strategy is these collectible coins, which you can use in 2 ways. 1, you can use them for your legacy. 2, you can also flip these around to make quick money, like you would flip a house, or imagine doubling your money like I just shared with my coin in a couple of weeks. And this could be something, it doesn't necessarily have to be that much of a stretch. Even if you bought one for like the $150 or $50, I think some of them might be, and you managed to sell it for $200, that's still $200 back in your pocket. So there are things that you need to learn, however, to be able to do it well. What the right coins are, what makes a collectible, and also learning about grading and mintage. So they're like how well made the coins are and how many of them have been made. Obviously, the less that have been made, the more collectible they are, the higher the value is, the rarer they will be. But the third one, which I know for some people are like, I don't want to become a coin collector. I didn't either, until I started getting involved in this. And now I've become a little bit obsessed with them. I'll show you some that I've fallen in love with at the minute, and they're my little set that I'm collecting. But what is it, if for anyone who's a little collector, maybe you've got a shoe collection, maybe you need a new obsession instead of shoes, or sell your shoes and swap them all for gold and silver collectibles. What excites you about collectibles? Just in the chat, while I have a quick glass of water. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Which one of these would excite you, if any? Actually, using the chat. 5, I want to learn something new. Love that. 2, quick flip. Leaving a legacy for your family. It's a really beautiful way. Well, legacy and watching me on a coin drop. It is hilarious. Me and Jay literally have like both both laptops on our phones out trying to win the coins. 2 and 5. I will come to questions. I'll do questions in a minute, Annette. 2 and 5, 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2, legacy, quick flip. Be secure and leave a legacy. I feel like I understand this more quickly than crypto. Yeah, crypto is a whole world to get your mind around, but an exciting one once you understand. I am in crypto, but yes, Emma, I promise we'll guide you through. 1, 2 and 5, 1 and 5, 1 and 5. It's a really exciting thing. Like the thing I love about this, it's called the autosaver, which I'll talk to you about, is that you actually get a coin. You can actually get ones delivered to you every single month. So we've talked, I hope tonight has given you a bigger picture of like what's going on in the world, what is happening, and what we can do to make sure that we step our way through this as gracefully as possible. What I want to share with you now is one way that we can help you do this. As I mentioned at the very beginning, some of you might not have been on, but what I'm sharing with you tonight is actually one piece of what we're sharing inside our Wealth Through Purpose program. So this is one part of element 4, which is all about, which we call abundance accelerators, things that you can do to accelerate your wealth as a much bigger journey, which I might talk to you about in a minute. But I wanted to introduce you all to this. It's a community called 7K. Some of you on here are already part of it as well, which is really exciting. But it's here, these people. So I've been asking the universe for, this is a much bigger conversation than now, but I've been asking the universe to bring forward the people that are here to make a massive difference in the world. And 7K, this community, appeared. Let me share with you who they are and what they've been up to. And these are the people that are making a bigger difference in the world. They're bringing back the gold-backed system, and I'm beyond excited that we have an opportunity to work with them at the moment, because what it has created is a real way for us to focus on things that really matter, to make sure that we're creating wealth now and in the future. This, thankfully, like I shared with you what's happened to me in the last 2 weeks, had it not been for this, would have probably been a much more stressful last couple of weeks if it hadn't been for 7K, for my gold account, for my crypto. And I'm still in a fun place at the moment with wondering when I'm going to get my fiat bank account back. It's been a real aha moment for me personally. But I now know how to leave a legacy, a bigger legacy for my family. I know how we can ride this wave safely in a fun way with an amazing, amazing community of people. And that's what these guys in 7K have created, is a family. It really is a beautiful, beautiful family. And they are currently mainly in the US. They've been in the US, the UK, Australia. They've only been in 6 countries so far, but they're about to go global, which is really exciting. But there's 100,000 members worldwide, and they've done what I love about these guys, these are, you have to see Josh's wonderful massive beard. These are the 4 founders of 7K. And Richard Hanson, that very handsome man down the bottom with the black suit on, is actually a multi-billionaire. He owns some of the biggest companies in the US, but he is also an incredible visionary. They all are incredible visionaries. And what they've built within this 7K community, if you imagine it's a membership like Amazon or Zulu or Shopify, where you've got your monthly membership, but what they're actually building is an entirely new financial paradigm and taking us back to a gold-backed system. And their vision is because they actually want to really do improve the lives of people around the world with what's happening in the space. And using the power of gold and silver, they are building a global movement with what they're doing, because they really want to see everybody step out and step through this. And what they've put in place is beyond phenomenal. One of the systems that we've got, I'll talk about in a minute, called the Sound Money Wallet, which is the gold-backed bank account. Some of the massive financial firms that we don't want to name, because it's like talking about Voldemort, have been hunting them down for the system that we've got, because they want the technology that they've created to put this system in place, and they're not selling it for love nor money. And I love that, is that they're really on purpose with what they do. And they really are such beautiful, grounded, heart-centered people. So what they've created is really a community that is transforming people's lives, it's transforming families, and it's allowing people to step into creating wealth and understanding how to step into gold and silver themselves. So they've got 2 levels of membership, and these 3 things that we've talked about tonight are included in there. So you'll be able to purchase your own gold and silver bullion, and you can have it shipped to your house every month, like these little ones that I've been showing you. But you can also buy gold and silver bullion, and they have massive vaults over in the US, and they are getting some here in the UK, which is really exciting, where they will store your gold and silver for you. So this isn't, there are many sites that you might find online that tell you they've got gold-backed bank accounts, but what you'll find is that they don't actually have the gold and silver in stock, or they don't actually have the gold and silver to equate to the amount of money that you have. These guys bring in external auditors every single month to audit the gold and silver that they have in their vaults, and that it matches with the inventory of everything that people have got in their account, and that your gold is actually backed by actual gold. And these guys actually keep gold in a 1.5 ratio. So if for every dollar you have in there, they have $1.50. So they make sure that there is half as much again on top. They're doing completely everything that the industry normally would do the other way around. And I really love that about them. So they want to make sure that we're all protected. So you can get your gold and silver bullion, non-collectible gold and silver. That is the fractional gold, the spendable things, the daily things that you might need to use, whether it's gold and silver little coins, whether it's bullion, and you can have them shipped to you. There are no minimums or maximums on that. And they do it as fractional gold and silver. So like I said, you don't need to be a mazillionaire to be able to get started with it, even with as little as like $50 or $100. And you'll be able to get started with that. And it's really, really easy to liquidate it and turn it back into currency if you need to. Now, the biggest thing, which is why I suddenly sound like a massive gold and silver expert, is because I've actually been through the training, the buyer's certification training. So whether you buy your gold from them or not, what they teach you inside the membership is how to buy gold and how to buy silver. Because not all gold and silver is the same. Some gold and silver is highly taxable, some of it is not real, some of it is not good quality. And very often, if you are buying gold and silver coins on places like eBay or anywhere else, if you're not buying them from somewhere that's certified, often, I think I've got it on here somewhere, I think it was like 78% of purchases on eBay were actually found out to be incorrect. They were not necessarily the certified versions that they were buying, but these guys actually create and mint their own gold and silver collectible coins. So one of the things they also have as well, which helps us with strategy 2, is the Sound Money wallet. And this has been my savior the last 2 weeks. My Sound Money wallet, I am beyond grateful for, is a gold backed. Imagine it's like a gold backed bank account. It's like having a gold backed bank account. And at the moment, it's not, we don't have the credit and debit cards yet, but by the end of October, they are rolling out debit cards, not credit cards, debit cards, so that you can use your Sound Money wallet in exactly the same way you do as your high street bank account. And they're rolling that out to 178 countries worldwide, which means we're about to take 7K global, which is really exciting. What this means is that your money, should you choose to do so, can be moved into a bank account that's like its own gold backed system. So the money that you have in there is an equivalent piece of gold with your name on it that is literally there ready for you, and you can have it shipped to you if you want to. And it arrives within 24 hours, and it's amazing. The process they've got in place to make this happen is absolutely incredible. And if you need to sell back your money at any point, or if you've got gold and silver, because I've had some people ask me this already, if they've got gold and silver that they want, they can take that in for you as well and hold it either in their vault or in your Sound Money wallet, or in their vault and in your Sound Money wallet. So the beautiful thing with this is you can actually use crypto with your Sound Money wallet. I'm just going to take my slides off. Anyone who's in crypto who would like to make sure that their money goes from crypto into a bank account without bypassing their fiat bank system, you can directly pay your crypto money into your Sound Money wallet. Anyone reading? Look at my eyes, look at my eyes. So it's actually kind of exciting because you can actually purchase your gold and silver with crypto as well, which is really cool. So like I said, it is going global, and they also have the collectible step 3 with these amazing, beautiful, beautiful coins. All of these coins have been designed and made for 7K. We have one of the world's leading coin creators. His name's Miles Standish, who designs many of these coins. They've got so many ahead planned that they're going to be releasing over the next few years. They've created these incredible collections. It's very American based at the moment, but there are lots of things that they're such an amazing company. They're like really open to everything, and as they're going global, they're going to start creating some more meaningful series that actually represent more of the global community. But one of the ones that they have, which I have to show you in a sec, have I got it here, and this was what actually made me fall in love with them, were these 2 collections. This one is called the Mandala Collection, which I absolutely love and adore. They've got some really beautiful coins in there, but this one is the one that I'm collecting at the moment. These are some beautiful gold notes. I'll show you mine in a second, which are known as the 7 pillars of humanity. And they've literally only just launched this year. This was these are actually stained glass windows. What you can see here, these are gold notes, but they've actually created, Tom Holdman and his wife, I've forgotten her name off the top of my head, have actually created these incredible, beautiful stained glass windows. Every single thing you can see on there is an individual piece of stained glass, and they've got a whole documentary and a whole movement around these 7 pillars of humanity: creativity, faith, love, unity, freedom, and I wish I could remember what the other ones are off the top of my head. But these are some beautiful gold notes, and these are the ones I'm collecting right now. And I get these. Can you see these? They're absolutely stunning. This is not doing them any justice. But these are, they're all legal tender, not that you would actually want to spend them, but these are going to be so highly, this one's Courage, highly collectible. I fell in love with these because the story, when you see the documentary, in fact, I might email it out to you. When you see the documentary and the story that goes behind this for me was what helped me understand the power and the love that these people have for what they're really doing. It really is about making a massive difference. So these notes have been specially commissioned just for us within 7K, and there's such beautiful, inspiring, really inspiring pieces. So we also have access to the coin drop, which is what I talked about, where you basically get to buy some of these coins at a super early, low priced rate. And you can also do the monthly auto saver, where you have a coin shipped to you every single month. So you don't have to think about it. So it's like those food deliveries that just get dropped off at your door. It's like, you don't have to think, I will put this off until when, which is what I'd spent so long with my gold and silver collection doing. Like, I will do this at some point in the future. You can literally click and set this and they'll get delivered to your house every single month. Now, someone was asking where we sell them. One of the things that 7K have done, which is amazing, is something called stack and sell. So we have our own internal, like eBay, but every single coin that's in there is certified and verified. So if you see on the corner of the case, we've got these serial numbers. We can scan in our coins. They know that it is actually verified. If it does get sold, it has to be shipped back to them. They check that it is still actually the coin that was in the pack before shipping it out and sending it on to the person who's purchased it. But you've got a global community who are hungry for these coins that we can sell this now through the stack and sell. And there's also a Facebook group where sometimes people do it through there as well. So there are some amazing things. I don't want to spend too much time talking about all of it, but it is an amazing community. They travel the world together. There is also an opportunity to build a business with this as well, if you would want to, and become an affiliate and start sharing this, which I am, but this isn't the reason I'm sharing this with you all tonight, because I'm sharing this because I want you all to be in an empowered place around your gold and silver and being in a protected space for you as well. So there is a whole other thing around that, if that floats your boat. But I most importantly wanted you all to get it, what's going on in the world right now, because there is so much happening on the planet that I, for one, wasn't really clearly aware. Like, I was aware of pieces of the puzzle, but I didn't get it all until maybe 6-8 months ago, and starting to really unravel the picture of the detail of why we are where we are has allowed me to see, and maybe the things I didn't necessarily want to see. Sometimes it's easier to just be there with your fingers in your ears and like, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to listen. I don't want to listen. But actually, I'm really grateful that the universe has showed it to me, because it means that everything I shared at the beginning, we have the opportunity to prepare ourselves and make sure that we sail through this, through the other side. So if anyone is interested in finding out more about becoming a 7K member, you want to join, I'll ask Claire very nicely to pop the link in the chat for you. All you need to do is just fill in a little Google form, and then we'll send you the link. You can come in and join inside. Oh yeah, really good question, Helen. How much is it to become a member? I'm not telling you. I'm going to keep that a secret. It's actually amazing. It's $219. So the standard membership. Yeah, thanks for reminding me on that. I got all excited about what's inside the program. So the membership for this is where are we? The standard membership is $219, and premium membership is $519. So the standard membership allows you to get your Sound Money wallet, which is the most important thing, allows you access to the coin drops. It allows you, can't even find the slide now. It's not even, there we go. So there's the two memberships. Standard membership is $219 and the premium membership is $519. So most people tend to start with the standard membership and you can upgrade to the premium later. The main difference between the two is whether or not you are planning on building or inviting people in to share it and maybe make it an additional income stream. So this is one of the things that we're talking about inside the Wealth Through Purpose program as an abundance accelerator. And that is annually. Yes, Eddie, thank you. It's every year. So it's $219 for a year, but it gives you access to all of the training. It gives you access to the coin drops. It gives you your Sound Money wallet. It gives you the community. It allows you to learn, and you can have then, as part of your membership, you then add on the auto savers. So every month you can get these little beautiful things delivered. which is start at like $125. So it's highly recommend. Thank you, Michelle. Highly recommend that you watch the training, because I feel like an absolute ninja when it comes to things gold and silver now. Like, I understand it, and I understand what to buy, understand what not to buy, I understand where to buy it from. Even if I don't get it through 7K, I know what I'm looking for if I'm buying it somewhere else. I also understand why now I need it, and how important it can be. And then with the collectibles as well, I haven't really ventured outside in the collectible space, because they've just made it so easy to be able to get these collectibles delivered every month. Or the coin drops are the ones where they're super rare and they only have like 50. These ones are a higher mintage, but they're still amazing, that come every month. So it's 219 or 519. So Claire, if you could just drop the link in the chat, that would be amazing. If you have already, I'm sure you probably have already. There you go, there's the link to the form. So you can just pop your details in there. We'll send you a message on WhatsApp to get you started, and you can voice message us, or I'll say us, I'm going away tomorrow morning, you can voice message Claire, and Claire will answer all your questions. But the big picture of why we're sharing this is because I've got some of you that are here who are joining us, who are in the Wealth Through Purpose program, which is our 9-module program, where we're deep diving into so much more than just this. It really is bringing the magic of EAM together with doing the work on our money stuff. So I'm sharing this piece with you because I want everyone to make sure that they're aware and they're protected. And please, if nothing else, get your money in a gold-backed bank account. Like, if you take nothing else from this, please take that one action. That would fill my heart with joy to know that everybody's moved their money out of the fiat system into a gold-backed bank account, and we're okay. We can breathe. That's all good. But beyond that, the big piece for me is allowing everybody to continue to live their life on purpose, where I talked about at the beginning, because this transition is going to look like the mushy caterpillar, and we need to come out, like I said, the other side, the beautiful butterfly. And so much of when we understand the deeper detail of the system, which we're talking about inside the program, of how the system is created, how money is created, where debt comes from, how to be free of debt, how to actually be free of your mortgage, your loans, your outstanding credit cards, how you can actually be free of all of those. And I don't just mean paying them off with an IVA or whatever. There are ways that you can step out of the system and be free of all of that, so that the money you are earning every month and the money you're creating is yours. And that's, for me, the biggest gift that we can have, is the freedom that comes along the other side of that. So if any of you aren't in Wealth Through Purpose yet and you want to find out more about that, I will drop it in the email that comes out tomorrow, but please come and speak to Claire or I and find out about that journey, because I've created many money programs before. I've been on many money programs before, and I absolutely know, hand on heart, that there's nothing like this out there. So we're going to be going on a kind of, not scary journey, that's the wrong thing, an eye-opening journey. If you think tonight was eye-opening, you wait. You'll see what we're doing inside there, and it's taken me a while to get my head around it, because it's been something that I've lived within for 40 years. It's something you've all lived within for 21 years. You know, everyone on here is only a wee babe. But when you start to see it and we can step outside of it, then there's some real magic that we can create as well. So I'll get Claire, can you pop the link to your diary in, honey? Would that be the easiest thing to do? If you want to find out more about the Wealth Through Purpose journey, speak to Claire, pop a link in the diary, and we can have a chat with you about that. It's not officially launched yet. I'm building it, because I know some of you on here are like, when's it coming? I'm building it. But as you can probably appreciate, the last 2 weeks have been sidetracked ever so slightly with trying to juggle my way around the bank. But if you want to find out about that, just come and talk to us, because it's going to be an amazing. Can I show you? Oh, I can't show you on my phone. Oh, I can't show you on my phone. I want to show you the membership site. We've got, yeah, it's amazing. We're moving everything. We're moving the platform. It's being built in a brand new training site. It's going to be all built in an app that you're going to be able to access wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And there's going to be all kinds of, just see if I can get it up on here actually. so not organized. Can I see it?
Just a thought, if Yvette's going to try and show you her phone, make sure you've got her on speaker view. Otherwise, if you're on gallery view, you're not going to be able to see anything.
It's not the best way to show you, but this is a brand new app that we're building this at the minute. If anyone's wondering why, I'm not sure you can see me, but we're building this training site at the moment. So this is our new training site for you. We've got access. You're going to have our wonderful new, we're still playing with it at the moment. This is our, you see that? Wonderful new workbooks. These are your workbooks that are going to be inside doing the energy work. It's not super clear. I'll send you a proper video of this tomorrow. But this is going to be taking you step by step through dealing with your debt, getting clear on the saving, the money that you're spending, where you're saving it, how to create abundance accelerators, working on the stuff that we have around our relationships with money and with other people, calling back all money that's owed to you, working on your life purpose, helping you manage your money, helping make sure that you are living in alignment with your purpose and turning it into a business or into your career, and how it's going to make a bigger difference in the world. It's actually a massive program. It's actually much bigger than I thought it would be when we got started, but I'm really loving pulling it all together for all of you. And it's the money program that I always wished somebody had created for me. And I'm really excited that we're actually getting to pull this together now. So it's going to be a fun journey. And you get me every 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks, we're going to be on Zoom. I'll be coaching you, guiding you, supporting you, having these conversations, guiding you through whatever we're looking at, whether we're talking about crypto, whether we're talking about gold, whether we're talking about some of the other things I'll be sharing with you as abundance accelerators along the way. There is a lot in there. So please speak to Claire. And if you are interested in joining us in there as well, if you do join and pay in full, someone just asked, it's 1,298 at the moment. When it comes out officially, it's going to be probably it's going to be 1,888 to join. But if you do join and pay in full now, I will pay for your abundance accelerator, which would be your membership to 7K. So, or one of our crypto platforms. There's 2 abundance accelerators that you can do with that. I wasn't even really supposed to talk about that tonight, but whilst you're all here, I'd rather just share with you that this was about the gold. This is about 7K and finding your way through that journey. But this is one piece of a much bigger wealth puzzle as well, which is really exciting. So thank you. Someone said they're loving my hair curly. I'm loving my hair curly too. Oh, thank you. That's my cousin Anne. Thanks, darling. Has anyone got any questions? Like, now I feel like I've just been talking at you, but please speak to me. Like, any questions about gold, about silver, about anything at all. We are going to wrap up with a step 5 in a minute as well, but that is in pounds. Yeah, 1,298 in pounds, because we are in the UK. Sorry, I know we've been talking about dollars all night. And you can do that in payment plans as well. If you need to, you can spread the cost of that over 12 months, because I know that money is often the thing that's in the way of people making money, and I don't want that to be the problem. So please, if you want to do that, speak to Claire. Have we got the link to the sales page? Actually, could probably fling that in. Yes, the program.
I don't, but I can do.
Yes, Evelyn, the program is going to be using EAM. Absolutely, it's all EAM. So the first module is all working on money energetics, universal laws, getting yourself in alignment, understanding the basics of EAM for those people who don't know how to use it. But every single module, most of the work that we're doing, which is what I was trying to show you on the app, but I'll record a screen for you and show you the video, is there's like the workbooks is everything in EAM. That's all energy work. And then there's one aligned action, like a practical action that you'll take at the end of each module, which is, say, for example, going and clearing your debts, or being free of the mortgage, or going and speaking to all the people that owe you money, or it might be going and working on getting clarity on your purpose. So a majority is like 80-20, 80% of it is energy work, 20% of it is going to be action. And you can't move on to the next module until you've completed the work that's in there, because it is a step-by-step journey to guide you through. So it's an infinite wealth system that we're taking you on a journey through as well. So I think that's it. Hold on one second. Let me just scroll back. I'm just checking for questions. Is there any, when does the work actually start with this journey? As I'm sending all of you that are in the program a video update, so you'll see that tomorrow. And that's what Claire and I are furiously building as module 1 and module 2, so you can get started, and I will update you next week when that's going to be. Nicola said it's really great to have different perspective and options, and yes, please know that everything I've said tonight is my perspective. It's not financial advice. I'm just sharing with you some insight and things that might be useful. Sarah, what's your question? Says Sarah, what's your questions? I've missed your questions, darling. You said I hadn't answered your question, but please do pop them in the chat if they're there for me. Can you advise, is it a monthly investment and as and when? So I think you're talking about the 7K. Monthly investment is, if you do the membership, is for the year, but then the autosaver is what you do every month. So the 125 or the 149, depending which ones that you decide you want to do as the autosaver, but that gives you access to all of that, and the training and the community and the coin drops. And they've got a whole bunch of other stuff that they're bringing out, and that will give you access to your bank card as well, which they're bringing out globally in the next few months. Michelle says, I actually don't look at the autosaver as a cost. It really isn't. It's a changing monopoly for monopoly money for real money. Every month it is. Yeah, Wealth Through Purpose program is going to be starting ASAP. I'm not going to give you the date, but it's coming. We're rebuilding all of it as soon as possible. Is it worth testing with a small flip scenario? Yeah, absolutely. You can test with the collectible coins. You can start doing that. Is the cost of membership likely to go up? Plan could be that the monthly cost of membership. Is the cost of the membership likely to go up? Plan could be to put the monthly cost of membership aside until you have the total and then get involved. Oh, I see. So the annual membership is the annual membership because you get access to all of it and it's your account. So I get what you're saying, but at the moment it's just the annual membership, the chunk, and to be able to get in. I'll pass that on though and see if they might create a monthly membership option. Really looking forward to the Wealth Through Purpose program. Me too. Looking forward to the program. When does it start? Anything else? How much is the program? I've answered that question. Gonna have to go. Any other questions that I've missed? Step 5 suggestions, abundant blessing. Let's do that, definitely. Thanks for tonight's presentation. I found it much clearer than the other one. Yes, thank you. I'm glad it was easier to grasp. Step 5, is the autosaver amount the value of the coin that you receive? That's a really good question. So these coins, it varies. It depends which ones that you get. The thing with collectibles, you've got the value of it as an ounce of silver, which is whatever the market rate is, which is the bare minimum. And then you've got the collectible value of it, if that makes sense, which is different. So all of them vary. Depends which ones that you're getting, because if you do the coin drop, like I gave you the example earlier, there's another one that I've got, like this one. This one is a Aztec 5 Suns. Like that one, that's not an autosaver one, but the value of that will go up significantly. And some of the ones that we get in our autosavers are the super rare mintage ones. So they all vary. I wouldn't like to say categorically that they are or they aren't. It varies, but you don't know which ones you're going to get across the year. There we go. Blah, blah, blah. Are we ready for step 5? I think that's answered all the questions that were in the chat. Has anyone else got anything they want to ask? I love that you guys are still on here. You're dedicated. Are you just waiting for step 5?
There was a question that I've just answered privately to somebody, and it's, is this program going to be, is Wealth Through program, no, I can't even say it, is Wealth Through Purpose going to be using EAM?
Yes, yeah, I did. Sorry, I thought I'd answered that one. Yes, absolutely. The whole majority of the journey is EAM, but we're focused around building the infinite wealth system and making sure that we've covered all of those bits as we go through the journey. Shall we do a step 4? Thank you for that, Joe. Actually, that's probably a good idea, given the energy of the conversation we've had tonight. Shall we release ourselves from the restrictions of the financial system before we do our step 5? Would that be a good step 4 to do? Who's ready to free? Who's up for that? Yes. Awesome. On your feet then, let's do this together. Let's wrap it up with step 4 and a step 5. Oh, okay. I've literally just realized I'm going camping tomorrow. I've been in the bubble with you guys for the last 2 hours. I was like, oh yeah, I've got to go get ready. Why did I say yes to taking the kids away? That's going to be fun. Okay, so with everything I've shared tonight, I know some of it's been open and expansive, I hope, and some of it may have also been touching on things that might not feel so great. I just want you to close your eyes and pay attention to where you are feeling this in your energy, in your heart, in your soul, whether you're feeling this in your family, in your life, in society. What do you see or feel now that you might be a little bit more aware of the structures that we've been living within? And I just want you to notice where you might be feeling that fear or that tightness, that heaviness, the darkness or the energy. Is it hard? Is it soft? Is it still? Is it moving? Is it inside you? Is it outside you? Whatever's going on in your life right now with regards to your money or wealth or abundance, how that's making you feel. And I just want you to create that knowingness of where it is. So it might be a thick red blob in your heart, or it might be a heaviness in your shoulders. And repeat out loud after me. I am ready to release all elements of fear, control, sadness, scarcity, and lack that may have influenced my financial situation that I find myself within and that we find ourselves within globally. I release myself from these constraints. I release all limitations imposed on me by myself or others around me as it relates to my sources of abundance. I release all of this now, fully from my life and my energy. I release this in all forms, on all levels, and at all points in time. I am ready to release these feelings of fear, control, scarcity, sadness, or manipulation related to my money, wealth, and abundance. I allow all of this into my life and energy in all forms, on all levels, and at all points in time. I am ready to allow myself, I'm ready to release, sorry, not allow, I'm ready to release myself to be free from any limitations, any lack, fear, or scarcity around money. I release these fully from my life and energy in all forms, on all levels, and at all points in time. Nice deep breath in and out. Okay. So now hopefully we've freed our energy, not hopefully, we have freed our energy to be ready for our step 5. So raising your arms up now above your head, opening your heart, Opening your energy. I am ready to allow myself to be free, to step outside the matrix and into a life of abundance. I am ready to see clearly the path that lies before me, to trust my heart and soul, to choose love in every moment, to tap into the infinite abundance that's waiting for me. I allow this into my life and my energy. I allow this in all forms, on all levels, and at all points in time. I am ready to allow this infinite wealth and abundance to flow into my life, to step beyond the matrix, to tune into the wealth and prosperity that is waiting for me. I am ready to receive real money, God's money, universe's money into my life. I allow this into my energy in all forms, on all levels, and at all points in time. I am ready to allow myself to shift and raise my frequency, to be a vibrational match to the abundance on this planet that has been waiting for me all along. I allow all of this now into my life and into my energy. I allow this into my energy in all forms, on all levels, and at all points in time. Just really allow that energy to settle down into you, letting it fill you up. Expand yourself, expand your energy, be open to all the guidance the universe is bringing you, whether that's through tonight or the many, many messages that I know it will send your way now that you've been so open to receiving this understanding. Trust that this has been given to us all of us right now, because you're ready for it. And the time is now for us to make these changes so that we can glide like the beautiful caterpillar, turning into the butterfly through this transition in the most empowering way, with a group of people who are on a mission to help make that happen. So wherever we are, whatever we're doing, yeah, listen, the crypto thing, it's a whole other conversation. Please don't freak out about the banks. I don't know what else is going on, but I think it's more than just the crypto, but that's the conversation for another day. So like most banks are fine. If they let you make the payment, it's fine. It was something else beyond that. Not money laundering, like Janet said earlier. I promise I've been a good girl. Right, you all have, thank you so much for joining this evening. Please, 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 if you could just pop the link in again, Claire, if you want to come in and join us for 7K, and you want to come and get your membership, get your gold back bank account, be part of the community, learn about gold and silver, be able to buy your bullion, get everything shipped to you, come in and join us ASAP. There is actually, the founders are actually coming over to the UK very, very, very soon, like in the next couple of weeks. And we're potentially going to be launching a UK event, and it will be the first launch event. We are one of the first groups of people here in the UK to be taking this out there, which is really exciting. For those of you that want to find out more about Wealth Through Purpose, oh, thank you, thank you, Claire, she's ahead of the game. There's a link to the page there, but book a call as well, and speak to Claire to find out about joining us now before it officially goes live, I will send you a video tomorrow so you can actually see what I was trying to show you on my phone, because my phone doesn't connect to this laptop. But please just take what we've learned today, wear it on your heart, be aware of what's going on in the world now, see what's happening more than anything. And thank you so much for spending your evening with me tonight as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks for the Infosys Tiff, much clearer. Good, I'm glad you get it. I'm really glad that it's been an aha, I think, more than anything. So huge love to everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. I will definitely see you very soon. Love you all to bits. Off to go and pack my bags and go camping. Next time you see me, I'll probably have straw in my hair and it'll be up here somewhere. Anyway, have an incredible evening. I'm glad it's been useful, and I'll speak to you all soon. Lots of love. Bye for now.